And now, live from the studios of WHUC, this is Real Talk, where we get you something to talk about.
Good afternoon, and welcome to another edition of Real Talk. I'm your host, Christopher Farrish, and today we have a very special guest today. Joining us today is the 12th Commander of the Engineer Research Development Center, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Not only is he the 12th Commander, he is the first African-American man to take on the position. Commander Christian Patterson. Thank you for joining us today, Commander.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, sir. So, first things first, congratulations on the position. And could you tell us about ERDC and what the day-to-day duties are as a commander?
Okay, so ERDC is basically the Science and Technology Wing of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. And our full name is U.S. Army Engineer Research and Development Center. That's the full name. We used to be known as the Waterways Experiment Station, but on October 1st, 1998, we brought all of our laboratories together and formed what's called the ERDC. And ERDC consists of 7 laboratories. 4 of them are located on our Vicksburg installation, which include the Information Technology Laboratory, the Environmental Laboratory, the Geotechnical and Structures Laboratory, and our first laboratory, the Coastal and Hydraulics Laboratory. Beyond the state of Mississippi, we have our Construction Engineering Research Laboratory, which is in Champaign, Illinois, co-located with the University of Illinois. We have our Cold Regions Research and Engineering Laboratory in Hanover, New Hampshire. And then finally, we have our Geospatial Research Laboratory, which is in Alexandria, Virginia.
Yes, sir. So you guys seem fairly global.
Absolutely.
So let's take it back to the beginning, sir. Is this what you saw for yourself, growing up a Jackson native?
I never in my wildest dreams believed or thought that I would become a commander of ERDC. My career is in communications, the majority of it as a public affairs officer. And so a few years ago, actually back in 2019, I was asked to come to ERDC to support their communications mission. I finished that mission up in early 2022. And then once I found out that I was promotable for colonel, I received a call from the ERDC director, Dr. David Pittman, and the deputy commanding general for the Corps of Engineers at the time, Major General Richard Heitkamp, asking me if I would be interested in being the next commander, and here I am. Well,
speaking of that mass communications, you have a very colorful education career. You have a mass communication degree from LSU, you have a business administration degree from Belhaven, a professional certificate in strategic communication and leadership from Seton Hall University, and you're currently working on your doctorate. But for those of you who don't know, Commander Patterson started right here at Hines in Raymond. So could you tell us about your radio, television, and film degree on the Raymond campus?
Well, a lot of it consisted of, just general studies, but what really kind of helped to move it along was my experience at WLBT. Worked there as an associate producer for about 5 years and had the opportunity to be able to freelance for news and sports and just get all these different experiences with personalities like Maggie Wade, Howard Ballou, Rob J. And so whenever you combine that experience with my time at Hines, it was just such an awesome opportunity to be able to advance professionally.
Yes, sir. And I understand that even though you did get your degree in radio, television, and film, it was a different program than the one we're standing in today. So what would you say the differences are?
I would say that today, the students that are going through this program are basically sitting on a gold mine. The experiences in terms of having the type of equipment that you all have access to, the expertise with your program's leader, Tim Crisler, who I worked with at Channel 3 for 5 years and have been in touch with ever since. I know exactly what Tim knows. I know what equipment you all have. And I know what he's exposing you all to, which is traveling abroad, which is huge in terms of understanding what's out there and then understanding what stories can be told and how you can tell them creatively and skillfully.
All right. We really appreciate Commander Patterson for giving us his time so far. We'll be right back after this break.
Real Talk will be right back after this.
If you can't trust any other college news source, trust WHUC. They are the team you can trust with the latest Heinz news. From the state fair,
numerous antique vehicles,
the annual homecoming specials,
Very interesting and refreshing.
and more. While others chit-chat, we bring you the latest to what's happening across and around the Hines County area.
Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you for joining us on WHUC
Trust Hines' very
News
own
7 News.
WHUC News 7.
And now, Real Talk continues.
Welcome back to Real Talk. For those of you just joining us, we have Commander Christian Patterson. So, Commander, you mentioned teaching us about being abroad. I see that you've been deployed to Bosnia, Herzegovina, Kosovo, Afghanistan. You've had special assignments in France, Honduras, and so on. So could you tell us about those experiences that you have had around the world?
It has been a tremendous blessing, first to be a member of the military, to be able to serve, Mississippi and the nation. And with joining as a high school senior, the military, the Army has given me the opportunity to see so many places, so many different people. My first deployment was to Bosnia in 2000, and so I served there as a broadcast journalist within Multinational Division North. From there, years later, went to Kosovo in Southern Europe and served as a broadcast officer there and a public affairs officer, and moved on to Afghanistan years later in 2008 as a commander and then also the Deputy Director of Public Affairs for what's called Combined Joint Task Force 101, which at the time was a 32,000 member task force. And so as I went through those experiences, I grew in so many different ways, as a leader, as a storyteller, as someone who had a stronger appreciation for history, because as we go through college and high school, we see history and we learn it, but as you get older, it's like once you become a part of history, as far as like these type of military operations, you begin to appreciate it more, and you see mistakes that were made, back in wars, back in World War II, World War I, all of that, and you're able to apply those things to ensure that we don't make those types of mistakes again on the battlefield.
Yes, sir. So for some people who don't know, just like myself, I never thought about broadcast within the military. Mm-hmm. So could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. One of the biggest benefits to joining the military and serving within public affairs is that you can attend what's called the Defense Information School. And so we call that school DINFOS for short, and it's located at Fort Meade, Maryland. And so every single thing that you could possibly want to learn up under the mass communication umbrella, you can learn it at the Defense Information School, from graphic design to repairing broadcast equipment to learning how to be a broadcast journalist or a print journalist, doing them both at the same time, learning public relations and how to deal with media on a high level. It's just all these different skill sets that they teach you. And I've had the opportunity to be able to go to DINFOS about 4 times in my career, and it has really helped me to become a strong communicator and tell the ERDC story as well as the military story.
Yes, sir. So I have a quick personal question for myself. I learned that you were a videographer when you were attending LSU for the football team. Now, that is a great job. That's a personal job that I would love to have. Mm-hmm. What was that experience like in being in that crazy atmosphere that's in Louisiana?
Well, it's a great question. And what helped me to get that job was actually being in the Mississippi National Guard. The reason why is because the unit that I was in, the 102nd Mobile Public Affairs Detachment, my commander was Dennis Smith, who used to be the news director at WLBT. And then also I worked with a gentleman there who had connections to the video manager for LSU football. He said, hey, I got this guy named Chris, and I think he would be great. He's already trained. He knows how to use a video camera from being in the Army, and ended up getting the job down there easily because I was already trained. But once I got down there, I learned even more about leadership, because being around those football coaches was an awesome addition to being an ROTC. And so it was great because I learned leadership from the coaches. From the players, it was awesome because they would say, can you get this camera angle, because we need to see this on a certain play. And then learned a different type of video work than just journalism video work, and why it was so important to be able to do cut-ups a certain way, triple cuts, 7-on-7, 7-on-7 versus scout. It's a whole nother area of video to learn and a useful skill.
So what would you say is the biggest difference in, everyday broadcast and video versus sports?
Well, sports video in that sense for the team was, really more straightforward, because you're just shooting plays and you're linking them all together from different angles. So as far as like the creative aspect, it's not necessarily there in that sense. However, there were some times where we had to use practice footage to support the traditional video storytelling mission of the university, and we would pass it along to them.
We're having a great time talking to Commander Patterson. We'll be right back after this break.
Real Talk will be right back after this.
The Automotive Technology Program here at Hines on the Utica campus provides training for students to become automotive technicians. Training in automotive management, automotive engineering, and business operations are also components of this program. Students will be offered ASE certifications, NC3 certifications, ATEC Trainers certification, and Pro Cut Master certifications. Students who enroll in Hines Utica Automotive Program will be in a nationally accredited program, which now declares this department a STEM program. Men and women looking to jumpstart their career in a fast-growing broad field of technicians and engineering should enroll today in the Automotive Technology Program at Hines Utica. Come enroll in the Collision Repair Technology Program at Hines Community College, the Utica campus. The Collision Repair Technology Program at Hines Utica is designed to provide students with specialized skills for entry-level jobs in collision repair and refinishing training. Students receive the best training and instruction in repair and refinish work, beginning with basic applications and progressing to heavy collision repairs requiring major body and frame alignment and panel replacement. Students in the Collision Repair Technology Program are prepared for positions as body, frame, and refinish technicians. So come enroll in the Hands-On Collision Repair Technology Program at Hines Utica today.
And now, Real Talk continues.
Welcome back to Real Talk. Again, we have Commander Christian Patterson, who is our guest today. So, Commander Patterson, you've been quoted saying, "I believe I'm in the position I am in because of my ability to tell a story about what we do, who we are, and what our value is to the nation." Could you dive any more into that quote, and have you always had the skill of storytelling?
Well, I always started in the beginning when I decided what I wanted to do to be the best communicator that I could be. I did speech competition in high school at Byram High School before it closed. And so from there, with kind of the walk through journalism and public affairs, it was what I, wanted to do. But communication is a huge thing as we grow in life. Because when you think about all the different things that try to capture your attention when you get up in the morning until you lay your head back down at night, it's infinitely many things. So striving to be the strongest communicator that you can be is really important.
So what advice would you give to students like us who want to have successful careers in the media?
I would say that you need to pursue excellence in every single thing that you do. And when I say that, that goes all the way down to your social media platforms. When you apply for a job, then those people who are trying to fill that job, they're going to seek intelligence about you, and they're going to go out to your LinkedIn page. They're going to go out to your Facebook page. What, are you talking about, But with that excellence, as you go through this program, if you get a 90 on a package that you do, Go to Mr. Crisler and say, what do I need to do to get 100? What do I need to do to get 100? Because you have to look at what is going to happen when you ask that question. Number one, you're going to get 100. Number two, when it comes time for him to serve as a reference for you, he's going to say, Christopher asked me what was needed for 100. Whenever that job calls him and asks him, what type of employee will you be? Right. So you're creating talking points at the same time. So when you pursue that excellence, you want to create the longest list of positive orders of effects with every single thing, every action that you do. You want to look at examples of awesome storytellers and pull the great things that you like about them and come up with your own special way of telling that story. If you do that, then me and Tim are going to look up one day and you're going to be on 60 Minutes running the show.
Yes, sir. So with your position that you're in and your long list of accomplishments, how does it feel to be a part of Black history?
You know, I really don't look at it that way. Whenever, you know, I'm presented with a blessing, I give it all to him. And my spirituality is extremely important because I know that I would not be anything, you know, without God and his plan for my life and what he's done for, you know, me and my family. And so from a historical perspective, I would just say that I hope to see more, you know, because that is extremely important to me because there's a ton of talent of all hues out there. And when we can get everybody in and, you know, working together as one team towards the mission, shoulder to shoulder, then we're going to do some great things for our teams and our country.
Yes, sir. This is Real Talk. We'll be right back as we take a trip to Vicksburg to visit the ERDC facilities. Stay with us.
Real Talk will be right back after this.
The Radio and Television Production and Broadcast Technology Department is an intensive, hands-on training program designed to familiarize students with multimedia reporting. We welcome the best and the brightest students to come join the community at Hines Community College, Utica campus. Students receive up-to-date and dynamic instruction from faculty members who are dedicated to fulfilling hands-on training using state-of-the-art equipment and facilities. I invite you to learn more about Hines Community College Radio and Television program and join us on our great journey that focuses on student success.
Contact Timothy Crisler at 601-885-7071 for more information. And now, Real Talk continues.
Welcome back to Real Talk. For those of you just joining us, we made a trip to the Vicksburg facility of ERDC, and we are now in Commander Christian Patterson's office. So, Commander Patterson, as we were coming in, seeing the different buildings, and even in this building, it's a very beautiful campus. It's a lot more than I expected it to be. So, how does it feel, you know, this being your job every day and seeing all of these different people?
You know, it's a tremendous blessing. We've got a tremendous amount of talent here. We solve some extremely tough problems for the nation and our warfighters. But one of the other things that I really love is that ERDC is a family. I've been here in total close to 5 years now, and having the opportunity to engage with just really good people on a daily basis is something that just energizes me in the morning when I wake up, and really fulfills me throughout the day whenever I'm working with them.
So I've noticed how big this campus is, so I'm sure you guys work with a wide range of problems. So what are some examples of some of the problem solving that you guys take care of?
Well, we take care of a very wide span of problems that are out there. Everything from military engineering, civil works with our locks and dams that are out there, geospatial, with our satellites in order to build maps and kind of map the area of the earth in different places. We have what's called engineered resilient systems, which are our supercomputers, which are right down the street from here. They're some of the fastest in the world. And then we solve a lot of problems as far as what's called installations and operational environments, our military bases that are out there, not only across the country, but really all across the world. We have to come up with capabilities in order to
be able to make them last as long as possible, because those are tremendous investments on behalf of our nation in order to keep those standing, running efficiently, so that our service members can project forward and conduct missions.
So coming in, I saw the pictures, I guess the chain of command, where I saw President Joe Biden, I saw the Secretary of Defense. Like, how does it feel seeing your face in that line of powerful people?
It's an honor to have the opportunity to be able to be a part of the senior leadership at ERDC. It's not something that I really thought was going to happen for my career, but to be able to have the opportunity to work from them and work alongside them in order to serve our nation is a big deal. Our director, Dr. Pittman, has been here more than 30 years. Our deputy director, Pat Sullivan, has been here more than 30 years. And so, in addition to actually helping to lead the organization, I'm learning wisdom from them for follow-on opportunities in my career after my time at ERDC is done.
Yes, sir. So, I have a question of my own. So, with the supercomputers and trying to, lead the nation and solve problems, where does the art of communication, where you came up, fall into this?
Well, when you consider that we have more than 2,000 projects that are going on at any one time, and then we have more than 2,500 employees, communication is critical, because when you have that amount of people and you have all the different things that we have that are connected to the ERDC, like more than 60,000 pieces of equipment on our property book, communication is key. And so you have to understand how to communicate effectively, but not only that, understand how different age generations like to communicate. That is critical. So when you consider that we've got people that are straight out of college all the way to more than 60 years old, you really have to pay attention to communicate in order to accomplish the mission.
So what would you say is your favorite, or maybe the most fun part about this job? Like, I know it seems like it could be tough sometimes with all of your responsibilities, but what would you say is the most fun part?
To me, the most fun part is getting the opportunity to go visit all of our teammates throughout the entire enterprise. ERDC has roughly 14 sites, and that stretches all the way from Fox, Alaska to Vicksburg to London, England. So having the opportunity to get out and see the workforce at all of our sites is a true honor. Just a couple of weeks ago, I had the opportunity to go out to Louisville, Texas, to visit our aquatics professionals out at our aquatic research facility there. And I'm getting ready to go visit soon our construction engineering research laboratory. And then I've already been to our cold regions laboratory this year, and have some other trips planned here in the coming months. So each one of our facilities has a different kind of feel to it. It's kind of like, in college, Hines has a feel, Mississippi State has its own special feel. So that's kind of the sensation that you get whenever you go from site to site.
And one last question for you. With all of that traveling, all of that visiting, how hard would you say it is to hold all of that and also, have a social life of your own?
There's a balance that has to be achieved with that. And, professionally, we call that the work-life balance. And so one of the things that really kind of helps me really stay on top of it all is, my wife. She helps out with our children. She helps out with things around the house. We sit down and we talk about what needs to be done. In addition to my wife, Latrice, I have excellent Secretary Connie Lindsay. She's an Alcronite, and so she helps me with my Outlook calendar on the professional side to make sure that everything lines up, personal-wise and then professional-wise, and then I'm also working on my PhD as well. So we take all of that into account in order to make everything work, and then hopefully, at some points, fit in some time to rest.
I thought I had it hard in college. Well, we're having a great time talking to Commander Patterson. We're now going to take a look around the campus. For our first stop, we took a walk to the Katherine and Bryant Mather building, where we saw the art of creation and engineering firsthand. Research physical scientist Travis Dornell told us what he found most interesting about his job.
It's totally being able to think about a material structure all the way from the nanoscale and understand how materials come together to form what they may be for their actual end-use properties and performance. So creating that full line of understanding from the lab bench in the flask all the way to large prototypes and then eventually in a full-scale application.
So far, the ERDC campus was truly something to see. Commander Patterson then led us to our next stop.
All right, so now we've made it to building 3050, which is part of our Postal Hydraulics Laboratory. And we'll have Matthew to come in to kind of talk about the model that we have here. So Matthew, take it away.
So this is John H. Overton, Navigation Physical Model. We're working with the Vicksburg district here in town. This project is on the Red River, just south of Alexandria, Louisiana. And we're looking at some of the hydraulics with the lock and dam, some circulation that we're trying to straighten out. So that's the gist of our model here. We can walk this way to get up here to the lock.
So, with processes like this and trying to solve a problem, how long would you say it takes to figure something like that out?
So our estimate right now is 3 to 4 months from this point. And it's been up to 5 months now to get to this point, and we're just now starting testing. This is a brand new model. So from here, it'll be September maybe, hopefully when we have a final product. We'll go through a lot of different scenarios, testing different things, and report to the district and industry what those changes, how they make the entry into the lot easier or worse or anything like that.
This model replicates exactly the area in Louisiana near Alexandria that Matthew was talking about. And so when it comes down to creating those conditions, researchers will get with the fabrication group that's here on our ERDC installation. They'll say, hey, this is what we need, and then they will create it. It does not matter what it is. You know, if it's a lock and dam, as you can see, they make it look exactly like it is, as if you drove there and took a look at it with your own eyes.
So, Commander Patterson, we've been all around the campus and met so many great people. How many people does ERDC employ?
ERDC has a total of about 2,500 employees, and that's not just here in Vicksburg, that's throughout all of our sites collectively. So our 7 laboratories and our field sites that I mentioned to you earlier goes up to about 2,500, and then we have a bunch of contractors on top of that.
And with those 2,500 people, how hard would you say it is juggling being the commander of this place?
I mean, it's a challenge. When you have that amount of people, and then the operations that we conduct, which are numerous, it can become a challenge. But the beauty of ERDC is that we have a lot of senior leadership and leaders across the board in order to make sure that we're a well-oiled machine as far as like what we accomplish for the nation and our warfighters. The senior-most person for ERDC is Dr. David Pittman, who is our director. We've got a deputy director. And then each one of the laboratories has a senior leader and deputies and division and branch chiefs as well. So a lot of leadership that works together, shoulder to shoulder, in order to get the mission done.
So how long is your term here?
My term is for 3 years. I'm a little past halfway as far as like that total mark. And so I will be relinquishing my position to another commander next summer, and looking forward to bringing that person in.
And what would you say the next step is for you in your career?
Well, I have to make the decision as to whether I'll continue service. I just passed 30 years of service this past January, so I'll get with my wife and look at some things and see if I'll continue to move on. If not, then I'll retire and move on to another opportunity.
So 30 years of serving, we've seen the numerous awards displayed in your office. So if there's anyone watching that sees all of this and says, I want to be just like him, what would you tell that person?
I mean, I would just tell them that, just to work hard, study hard, stay committed to what you have in front of you, and never give up. There were a lot of times in my career where I just thought that it was about to, either end or stall, but the next thing you know, just by staying in there and hanging in there, another door opened. And so I would encourage them to just, keep the hope and the faith up, and next thing you know, you'll be where you want to be.
All right, viewers, he just gave you the blueprint. We'll be right back after this break.
Real Talk will be right back after this. Now, Real Talk continues.
Well, we had an amazing time here on the Vicksburg campus of ERDC. Commander Patterson, thank you again for showing us around and joining us on this very special episode of Real Talk. I've been your host, Christopher Farrish. This is Commander Christian Patterson. Thank you for joining us.